Dreamscape presents Murder is for Keeps by Elizabeth J. Duncan. Narrated by Flosnik. 1. The slender fit woman with the red hair picked her way along the rough path, placing her feet carefully to avoid falling. The pathway, with occasional small rocks jutting through the hard-packed dark soil, was much easier to negotiate now than it had been just a few weeks earlier. Then it had been choked with weeds and enclosed on both sides by prickly branches and great masses of thorny brambles that had scratched and clawed at her legs. Burdened with painting supplies in both hands, she was unable to extend her arms for balance, so she took her time on the gentle downward slope. At the bottom of the narrow path, she set off on a wider, smoother pathway that led past the main building of Gwrych Castle, an immense late Georgian castellated mansion, or what was left of it. Now it was an abandoned ruined shell of its former Gothic self, shrouded in decades of neglect, but yet somehow maintaining the silent, faded dignity of its long-ago grandeur. A pointed stone arch draped in ivy, set into an exterior wall that heralded the approach to the castle's main building, beckoned her forward. When she reached it, the woman set down her easel and painting case and pulled a water bottle out of her backpack. It was cooler here in the shade, and she took a long drink as she admired the framed view through the arch. This was as close as she could get to what had been the magnificent manor house of the Bamford-Hesketh family for just 3 generations, ending with the death of the builder's granddaughter, Winifred, Countess of Dundonald, in 1924. The property then passed out of the family, but was bought by a widower a few years later and then sold in 1946. The structure was surrounded by tall, strong fencing, clearly marked with red and black danger signs. Through the ornate but lifeless cast-iron window frames, the stained glass they once held smashed long ago, she could just make out bits of faded, peeling plaster, and she mourned the loss of what would once have been magnificent formal rooms. Even from this distance, she could almost smell the damp and decay. Penny Brannigan had spent the earlier part of the afternoon sketching one of the castle's 18 towers, and now, with the front of the castle bathed in a burst of mid-afternoon sunlight, throwing it into stark relief against the heavy shadows of the trees behind it, she made her way down to the main terrace level. The terrace, with a sweeping buttressed wall overlooking the parkland below, stretched for 2,000 feet along the front of the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?